Have you ever wondered about the process and implications of terminating a construction contract? Well, today we're delving into this complex issue with Philip Harris, a partner at Wright Hassel Solicitors. Philip starts us off by explaining that termination can occur in two ways: under the contract or at common law. He emphasizes that the grounds for termination differ in each case, and understanding these grounds is crucial. He then moves on to discuss the specific provisions for termination in JCT design and build contracts. He cites the case of Architectural Installation Services Limited against James Gibbons Windows to illustrate his point. Philip explains that simply claiming damages for a breach of contract is not always sufficient. He goes on to outline the reasons why a contract might need to be terminated. According to him, termination becomes necessary when a breach is fundamental and goes to the roots of the contract. Let's dive in a bit deeper by looking at an example of a termination case in a JCT design and build contract. We take the case of XYZ Construction versus ABC Limited for our example. Here, XYZ Construction was the contractor responsible for the construction of a residential building, but due to a significant delay and cost overruns, ABC Limited decided to terminate the contract. The reason for termination was fundamentally a breach of contract, specifically the clauses related to timely completion and budget adherence. The court ruled in favor of ABC Limited, as the contract clearly stipulated the terms that XYZ Construction had breached. This case clearly highlights the importance of understanding the specific provisions for termination in JCT design and build contracts. It illustrates that a well-written contract can protect the rights of the innocent party and provide a clear path for termination if necessary. Now, let's examine a case of common law termination. We'll use the case of PQR Builders versus DF Inc. as our example. In this scenario, PQR Builders was the contractor tasked with renovating an office building for DF Inc. However, DF Inc. noticed repeated and protracted breaches of minor contract terms by PQR Builders, which led to DF Inc. terminating the contract under common law. The court ruled in favor of DF Inc. as the repeated breaches, although not severe individually, cumulatively constituted a valid reason for termination under common law. This case underscores the implications of common law termination and the importance of understanding its grounds. It demonstrates how even minor breaches, if repeated, can lead to contract termination and potential damages for the offending party. And what about common law termination? Philip tells us that this method releases both parties from future performance and entitles the innocent party to damages. He outlines the grounds for common law termination, such as a breach of a term that is not sufficiently serious but is protracted or repeated. Philip then unpacks the advantages and risks of terminating under the JCT design and build contracts for both the employer and the contractor. For the employer, they can require the contractor to remove themselves from the site and can obtain copies of the contractor's design documents. They also have the power to withhold further payments or release retention until the work has been completed by someone else. The contractor, on the other hand, can quickly submit their accounts and get paid within 28 days of submission. However, he cautions that serving termination notices properly is essential. While the courts may not strictly enforce formalities, it is advisable to observe the strict requirements of the contract. Philip stresses that the courts insist upon meticulous compliance with contractual time limits. Lastly, Philip warns about the risk of getting the grounds for termination wrong. This could result in the terminating party themselves being in repudiatory breach. He advises that to avoid wrongful termination, it is important to clearly and unequivocally accept the breach and serve the termination notice on time. In essence, Philip Harris highlights that terminating a construction contract is a complex process that requires a deep understanding of the grounds for termination, whether under the JCT contracts or at common law. He underscores the need for careful handling of termination notices and a thorough understanding of the potential advantages and risks for both parties involved.